Welcome to the company assault course for Fields of Fire. Well, the first couple of turns anyway. This is going to introduce some more advanced concepts for people learning the game. This is Legendary Tactics. This video has been brought to you by our sponsor, Noble Knight Games. If you like war games like Fields of Fire Deluxe Edition, Noble Knight Games is one of the best places to find it. They have one of the world's largest selection of games, and you can buy, sell, or trade new, rare, or even out-of-print board games, role-playing games, collectibles, and miniatures. Please check out the link in the description and help out the channel at the same time. The company assault course is a little more advanced than the platoon assault course, and it introduces some interesting concepts. The board setup is like this. There's some new terrain types and some more hills. We will also be using 2 platoons instead of 1, with a company HQ in charge. The objective of this scenario is to eliminate all enemies on the map within 10 turns, but we will only be looking at the first 2 turns as outlined in the playbook. For your reference, the mortar and artillery forward observers each draw 2 cards in their attempt to call in fire from off-board. The company HQ can also attempt to call for fire from either the mortars or the artillery, but just drawing 1 card. The Germans are using deliberate defense tactics, and enemy units will ignore a remove unit place PC marker action result, as we won't be using the potential contact system in this particular run. And mortars are new. They have a basic VOF that can be directed at any enemy units within line of sight, but they can't fire at all while exposed, cannot infiltrate, and cannot fire from woods terrain. They can be ordered to fire indirectly. The enemy is set up like this. Random numbers have supposedly been drawn to determine the setup, and here's a quick glance at the line of sight the Germans have to various cards. Note that the hills allow an extended line of sight through cards with dark borders, and that the bunker is pointed in an unusual direction. Maybe they just really want to protect that hill? And we then put our units in the staging area with the first platoon in column 2 and the second platoon in column 4, the company HQ and mortar section in between them. Each platoon will have a machine gun team and a bazooka team, and the artillery forward observer is here with the first platoon, and the mortar forward observer is attached to the second platoon. All of our enemies are unspotted. For this training mission, we will be skipping some phases, starting with the random event phase. Instead, we start with the friendly command phase. The battalion headquarters is off map, and the company HQ can activate the platoon HQs. We start flipping a card for commands. We draw card number 49, which gives only 1 command for the company HQ. It is spent to activate the first platoon HQ, and we flip the markers around to indicate that situation. Now that the first platoon HQ has been activated, we draw for commands, and we draw card 31, which gives 3 commands, so we place the marker in the correct column on the command track. With the basic plan to distract the German light machine gun on the hill, we decide to set up a diversion. First, Platoon HQ spends the first order to detach an assault team from the 1-1 squad. It is placed on the same card. Then we use the second order to move that assault team forward into the marsh, and they are marked exposed. Immediately, the German light machine gun opens fire, so we place a PDF pointing from its card toward the marsh and an automatic weapons VOF marker where the assault team is now located. First Platoon HQ saves their last command. Moving on to the initiative impulse, we check to see if there are any HQs that have not yet been activated, and second Platoon HQ is the only one that hasn't been activated yet. We draw for initiative commands and check the smaller number at the top left of the card. On card 36, this gives us 1 command which we use to move the light machine gun into the open fields. After the move, they are marked exposed, and we move the command markers around to reflect that. Because the German light machine gun has not yet been spotted, it cannot come under fire from our units. So, for general initiative, we draw another card, number 39, which only gives us 1 command. This isn't halved and rounded down to 0 as we are playing with a full company. We use this command to have the light machine gun attempt to spot the German light machine gun in the foxholes. We check the spotting attempt to draw modifiers table for this. The base draw is 2 cards, -1 for the target being under cover, +1 for the target card having +0 cover and concealment value, and +1 because the target has a VOF rating of A for automatic. This gives us 3 cards, and we draw 18, 5, and 48, and card 5 has the crosshairs that we need to indicate a successful spotting attempt. We remove that unspotted marker, and immediately our light machine gun opens fire on the Germans. We place a PDF marker and an automatic weapons VOF marker. Our assault team on the other side has line of sight to the German machine gun, but only has a range of P for point blank, and so does not open fire. Point blank weapons can only fire on units on the same terrain card. And you always need to be careful to update the VOFs and PDFs and other counters that need to be adjusted whenever something happens. Next, we go on to the enemy activity check. In this phase, every enemy unit on the map makes an activity check. In this scenario, since none of the German units on the third row have a line of sight to US units, they will do nothing, ignoring the usual remove from map results. We only need to check the light machine gun on the hill in row 2. We look down the enemy defensive activity check hierarchy, and the first situation that applies is under fire from a different direction to its own PDF. We draw an action card and look under the third column because the Germans are using a deliberate tactical doctrine. Card 10 is drawn, which gives a result of 1, which is no action. So the German light machine gun just continues to fire into the marsh at that assault team. Remember that units fire automatically with their basic VOF at units that are in their line of sight without any order required. That's the same for enemies as well. Only the G-rated units don't fire automatically, as they don't have a basic VOF. We skip down to the mutual combat phase. We have no fire missions to update or PC markers to evaluate, and no pinned markers on the map. So we begin with the combat effects segment. 2 cards are under VOFs, so we will check them in any order we like, as combat is considered to be simultaneous. We'll start at the top row and work our way down. The first one we'll do is the German light machine gun under fire from the US light machine gun. The net combat modifier calculation is as follows. The terrain is +0, +1 for the foxholes, and -1 for the automatic weapons VOF marker, for a total of +0. We draw card 11, which gives a pin result, and we place that on the German light machine gun. For the exposed assault team in the marsh, they get +1 for the terrain card they're in, -2 for exposed, and -1 for automatic weapons VOF, for a total of -2. We draw card 24, and that gives a result of hit. The second card is drawn and we look under the line experience level, which gives a result of C for casualty. We change the assault team marker to a casualty marker. This step is no longer recoverable and can only be evacuated as soon as we have a chance to do that. In the cleanup phase, remove all exposed markers and reset the command markers on the command track. Because the German light machine gun is pinned, their automatic weapons VOF is replaced with an all-pinned VOF. Also, because the casualty is not considered a valid target anymore, the enemy machine gun now receives orders to shift fire to the only other unit in its line of sight, which is the US light machine gun in the open fields. We move the all-pinned VOF marker from the marsh to the open fields. So we move on to turn 2. Once again, the company HQ is activated by the battalion HQ, and we draw a card for commands. We draw card number 30, which gives 3 commands, and we spend them first to activate the first platoon HQ, then to activate the second platoon HQ, and then finally to set up a casualty collection point. These can be set up by the company HQ and any staff where they are located, and any card on the map can be designated, including one in the staging area. Any casualties on a card that's designated as a casualty collection point at the end of the turn are considered evacuated. This gives you experience points in the campaign game. So now we decide to activate the second platoon HQ first. We draw card 22 for commands and we get 4 of them. The second platoon headquarters uses all 4 commands. First of all, to order the mortar forward observer to infiltrate forwards. Due to the VOF on the open fields card, the option to infiltrate is available. We draw 2 cards to make that attempt, but neither have the icon, so it's a failed attempt. The forward observer moves forward and is marked as exposed. Next up, the second platoon HQ moves itself forward and tries to infiltrate. We draw 2 cards and fail the attempt, and mark the HQ as exposed. Thirdly, we order the light machine gun unit to move forwards into the gully and attempt to infiltrate. We draw 2 cards and miss yet again. The light machine gun is marked as exposed, and it opens fire on the German machine gun team again, as it is still in line of sight. The German group on row 3 opens fire on our light machine gun unit, and a new PDF marker is placed, as well as a small arms VOF marker. Lastly, the platoon HQ orders the mortar forward observer to attempt to call for fire. We draw 2 cards, and card number 28 shows the burst icon. Finally, a success. A pending -3 incoming VOF marker is placed on the field where the German machine gun team is located, along with a mortar concentration marker to remind us that subsequent calls for fire on this card will get a bonus draw. Then we activate the first platoon HQ. We draw a card, and we draw card number 35, which gives us 3 commands, in addition to the one we saved from last turn. This HQ uses all 4 commands. Firstly, to move the number 1 squad forwards, and they are marked as exposed. This squad opens fire on the German machine gun, and we place a PDF and a crossfire marker on the open fields terrain card where the German light machine gun is located. Then we move our artillery forward observer forwards, and they are marked as exposed. Thirdly, the platoon HQ orders itself to move forward and is marked as exposed. Finally, the last command is spent to order the squad to begin transporting the casualty, and so we place it underneath of their counter. The general initiative impulse allows us to draw a card for extra commands, and we draw card number 34, which gives us 2 commands. The first command is used to move the mortar section to the front left marsh. They can't open fire yet as mortar units cannot fire while exposed. The woods may have been safer, but mortars cannot fire from woods cards. The second command is used to get the light machine gun to hopefully spot the German squad on row 3. Please note that an attempt to spot can be made on any unspotted enemy unit, even if the PDF of the unit making the attempt is in a different direction. We check the spotting attempt draw modifiers table, and we figure out that the base draw is 2 cards, but because the enemy is under cover, it's -1 card. So we have 1 shot at this. We draw card number 47, which has the crosshairs icon, so the German squad is spotted, and we remove the unspotted marker. Our light machine gun does not shift fire automatically, and because no other US units are in line of sight, no changes are made to the PDF or VOF markers. Next, we do an enemy activity check segment. The row 3 squad and light machine gun in the orchard can be skipped because they're not under fire and they have no line of sight to a US unit. The squad in the row 3 woods and the light machine gun in the row 2 open fields will check for actions. We randomly select which card will be looked at first by drawing an action card, with 1 being the squad and 2 being the light machine gun. We draw card number 46, which indicates a 2, so the light machine gun will check for actions first. On the LAT pinned hierarchy chart, we look for the first item that matches the current situation, which is pinned under cover. We draw an action card and check the 4 column to see what action the light machine gun takes. We draw card number 17, and under the 4 column we get a result of 2, which means no action. Next, we check the German squad on row 3, and looking on the deliberate defense hierarchy, the first table which applies seems to be not under fire but has a valid target along PDF. Using deliberate tactics, the selection is automatically grenade attack or concentrate fire. In this case, because a grenade attack can only be made at point-blank range with this unit, it will attempt to concentrate fire. The German squad picks a target, which is the light machine gun. We draw 2 cards for the attempt and get cards 32 and 6, neither of which have the crosshairs icon, so the attempt fails and nothing further happens. We move down to the mutual combat phase. The fire mission is updated by flipping to its incoming side. At this point, the German light machine gun immediately loses line of sight off the card, and so the PDF marker and all pinned VOF marker on 2nd Platoon HQ's card is removed, as the Germans are too busy taking cover to continue shooting. Smoke and various fire missions block line of sight. Units can still fire into a card with smoke or an incoming marker, but not through it to another card beyond, and units cannot fire out of the card at all. Next, we check to see if any of the pinned units on the board are not under a VOF. The German light machine gun remains pinned, as it is still under heavy fire. There are 2 cards under a VOF at the moment, so we will start with the German light machine gun in open fields. The terrain is +0, +1 for the foxholes, +1 for being pinned, -3 for the incoming VOF, and -1 for the crossfire modifier for a total of -2. We draw a card and check the combat resolution area, and it indicates a hit. We draw another card to see what the effect is, and under the line column we can see that it's a result of PP. This means that 2 steps have become paralyzed. Since the German light machine gun only has 1 step, we ignore the second letter, and the LMG counter is replaced with a German paralyzed team. We assume in this case that the LMG is destroyed or lost and the crew is just trying to stay alive. The team remains pinned. The second VOF that we need to resolve is the machine gun in the gully under small arms fire. The net combat resolution is +2 for the terrain, -2 for being exposed, and +0 for small arms VOF, for a total net combat modifier of 0. We draw the next card and check to see, and it gives us a result of pin. We place a pinned marker on the light machine gun unit. Pinned units do not fire as well as a good order unit, so the basic VOF of the light machine gun is temporarily reduced to pinned. After this, we replace the automatic fire VOF on the open fields with a small arms VOF from the 1 squad in row 1, as this is now the most powerful VOF affecting the card, or will be when the incoming marker is removed next turn. Exposed markers are moved from all units, which results in the mortar section on row 1 opening fire on the German paralyzed team in row 2 open fields. The small arms VOF is replaced with a heavy weapons VOF, and the turn marker moves up to turn 3. The command markers are reset, and we go back to the top of the sequence of play. This is the end of turn 2 and the end of this introductory video. I hope you benefited from seeing things in action, and that it will help you learn this great game faster and better. This is Legendary Tactics.